Move on to something else completely different, something completely out of the world. A former government UFO expert is warning that Britain is wide open to alien visitors and that the consequences of not monitoring extraterrestrials could be huge. Up the ranks do UFO believers go?
Oh, I mean, over the last few decades, some of the great establishment figures have actually been involved in the whole debate about this. There's been a sort of skeptic versus believer dogfight at the MOD for years. But I mean, for example, Lord Hill Norton, a former chief of the defence staff, spoke out quite passionately about his belief that these things were real and that there were serious defence and national security issues.
Reading some notes about you, I mean, you were a skeptic about these things to start off with. Just explain what converted you in the first place.
Yes, before I joined the UFO project, I knew nothing about the subject at all. I thought it was all just lights in the sky and stuff and nonsense. But then I looked at some of the old case files. The MOD's UFO project dates back to 1950. Since then, we've actually had about 10,000 UFO sightings. Many of the witnesses were pilots, police officers. Sometimes these things were tracked on radar, and on occasions, jets have actually been scrambled to try and intercept these things. But consistently, there have been a hardcore of these things whose speeds and manoeuvres just leave us standing, and that, to me, was interesting and slightly concerning.
So now
My point is that our air defences do seem to be regularly penetrated by structured craft.
Regularly? How
regularly?
So you believe in these kind of things?
Let's just say I want to believe.
Welcome back to the Most News in the Morning. All this week we're bringing you a special series, In Search of Aliens. And today we're talking to a man who says he has made contact and says he's actually been abducted by aliens more than once. Space correspondent Miles O'Brien is here. I don't mean to make fun, but come on.
Well, that's actually not unusual. A lot of abductees have had the experience more than one time. We're talking about close encounters of the fourth kind. That's when a human is abducted by an alien. Now, before you scoff, Carol,
I'm sorry,
and tune this out, these people we talk to are not crazy people. The majority of the people who say this has happened to them do not have symptoms of mental illness. They are ordinary people who swear they have endured a most extraordinary encounter.
Back in the book segment tonight, according to a Fox News Opinion Dynamics poll, 55% of the American public believes the government is likely withholding information about UFOs. And 24% of Americans believe aliens have actually visited this planet. In the Czech Republic, according to a 1999 poll, 62% believe extraterrestrials exist, more than believe in God. Czech Republic. Joining us now from Houston are two American believers, Donna and Clayton Lee. Okay, according to the notes that I have here, both of you say that you were abducted by aliens. Now, Donna, when people hear that, their first reaction is that you're a nut, all right? And I mean, do you want people to know that? I mean, why not just keep it to yourself?
Oh, God, how can you keep something like that forever to yourself? People have reactions. Some people relate because they know that they've been contacted as well. And people that think we're nuts, or it's okay. You know, it's not important that they believe that I was abducted because I know that I was.
Yeah, and the hardest thing for people that have gone through this is not being able to tell anybody. And the last thing somebody that has experienced these type of things wants to do is go on national TV on the #1 news show and talk about it.
So why are you doing it?
There are people out there right now that just think they're losing their minds, and that's why we're going on to tell them that this does happen to normal people, people that live normal lives, and there are people you can contact to talk with, and you don't have to be alone.
All right. Do you guys market this? Do you go speak about it or make money from it at all?
No, we don't.
Nothing like that. So you're basically just doing the program tonight, even though you know you're going to be disparaged and people are going to make fun of you. You know, they are. I mean, we all know that. But you're doing it to try to say to other people who have experienced what you've experienced that they shouldn't be ashamed. See, I wouldn't advise anybody to do what you do. I mean, I'm happy to talk to you. But I wouldn't advise people to do this because their life becomes very difficult, especially if they're working in a corporation or some people just think they're nuts.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. Neither one of us work in a corporation.
Yeah, you're both independent. You can do and say what you want, but if you were in the straight world, woof.
Oh.
How advanced are these people? Where are they from? Who are they? Or are they extraterrestrials? Are they time travelers? Are they us in some way, as some people, in my view, compellingly claim? Do you know what the score is here? And what's the relationship between them and the other extraterrestrial races that you must have heard about?
Yes. The other question was, you know, what kind of a scale are we looking at as far as time is concerned? Now, it is my understanding, again, from what they've shared with me on board that craft, that they have been here since the beginning of the Earth, and that they had a hand in creating humanity. That they too, as it was described to me by them, that they too seek to know God, meaning the creator of all that is, all that was, and all that will be. The creator of everything, the very beginning, the source of all things. So they were given a task. It's like saying, you know, whatever your job is, when you get up in the morning and you go to work, that's what your job is. That's what you know that you do. Well, when we are here on Earth, it is no different than for them than to say that this is what they do. They are the caretakers of the Earth, and this is what they've always done. As far as what timeline they're from, it was also described to me that some of them are from our past, our present, and our future. Because the way that time was described to me, they did have the ability to go back and forth and in the present. They did have that ability. How? You'd have to ask them that, because I have no idea. But they also said that some of them were physical, that they were no different than you or I, that they lived on the earth, that they did live under the earth, inside the earth, that there were others that were interdimensional beings, and there were others on different planets, that all of them were created for the same task in these different areas, and they all had the ability to communicate with one another, and it was like saying that they were cousins. So it's a very complicated question to answer because it is so complicated to explain. It's almost beyond my words to be able to clarify it.